And on that note,
Welcome, everyone, to the Being You Hangout with Dr. Dain. My name is Megan Hill, and we're talking about relationships today. Everyone's favorite.
yay!
And so the chapter that you should have gotten was called Are You Different Enough to Create a Great Relationship? Are you willing to be different enough, actually? And Dain, you've been exploring this topic for a few days now in a few classes. So if you would like to dive in on a lot of the information and awareness you got from those, or where would you like to start?
I like how you say that for a few days. You're like, yeah, you've been studying relationships for like 3 days. I'm like,
For years now, 20 years, right?
yeah,
Aren't you a
exactly. I'm like,
relationship expert now?
40 plus years. I've been doing it either really well or really badly. I'm not sure which. But when I came to Access Consciousness, worked with the founder Gary Douglas really closely on speaking about these issues to try to give people clarity on what was actually going on. And I realized that most of the information that's out there is not exactly designed to give clarity. It's designed to put forth a point of view rather than find out what's true for you and find out what the possibilities are. So that's what I wanted to explore. And I did. A day ago, I did or a couple days ago, I have no idea now. My days are all running together. But I did a class on the being you in relationship, and I did it in Sydney, and it's also live streamed around the world. We got to some amazing stuff in that class. Now, I don't know how much of that we're going to be able to get to today, as far as some of the intensity of processing that we got to, which is really big. But basically, none of us have really, or very few of us, I should say, have really been given the tools to create a truly great relationship. What's a truly great relationship? Well, it's a relationship in which you don't have to divorce any part of you, where you're made greater as a result of the relationship, where your life actually is greater and more fun as a result of the relationship, and where you get to have somebody there who's in total allowance of you, total caring for you, total gratitude for you, where you have these 5 elements of intimacy that I talk about in the book: honoring, trust, allowance, vulnerability, and gratitude. And one of the real simple things in relationship that you can use to boil something down is, okay, am I happier in the relationship or out of it? Now, there are going to be times where, there's always time, not always, there's all, blah, blah, blah. It's not always the happiest thing and the most wonderful thing as you're going through your stuff. But overall, are you happier and are you creating more in your life as a result of having this relationship? And if you can start to embrace some of this stuff, you can actually have tools for creating it in a totally different place. Now, it's really funny. I just did this one-day class in Sydney, like I was talking about, and I was like, wow, I don't know that I'll try to do another one-day relationship class because there's so much that people have as the point of view that they already bring to the table. And what most people want from a relationship class is, please tell me that I'm already right and tell me how to get the jerk I'm with to do things better.
Right.
Or please tell me I'm already right and tell me how to find the person that I want to find that will also prove that I'm right, which doesn't really open up a lot of space for a different possibility. So during this hangout, what I'd like you to do is if you'd be willing to allow yourself to open up for a space of a different possibility, and consider that maybe the reason you're looking for something different is because you know there's something different that's possible. Maybe you can, and take whatever works. What's true makes you feel lighter. A lie makes you feel heavier. Take whatever works here and throw away the rest. No big deal.
Dain, when I first met you, it was at a 2 and 3, and you called me up on the table, and one of the things that came up, I had just gotten engaged, and I wasn't even willing to look at it. I wasn't even willing to, like, I was going to change everything, but the relationship had to just do not touch it. Let's not even open the door. We're good. Let's not even explore anything. And something
Yeah.
you said you have to be, because everyone thinks that if you actually look at the relationship that you're going to have to break up or like look at that something's wrong with it rather than seeing how it could actually be greater. And you said the only way that you're going to have the relationship that you truly desire is if you're willing to be all of you. And I thought that if I was all of me, then he would leave me or that no one would want me or blah, blah, blah.
Right. I'm so glad you brought that up. That is one of the biggest things that ends up sticking us is we somehow have inherently this idea that if we're all of us, the person will leave. But, think about that for a moment. What does that mean? It
Right.
means that you're purposely cutting off you and cutting off your arms and your legs in order to make the relationship work so the person doesn't leave you. Is there any hope then for you to actually get to be more of you in the relationship?
Right.
No, it's always got to have a glass ceiling. You know, my favorite story, or my favorite description of it, which I also have in the book, is, you know, it's like you decide you want to be in a relation with somebody, and usually it's because they're cute or something like that, or they were nice to you once or something, and you're like, oh my God, they are the one, you know? And it's like, what? But what happens is, so here they come, right? You're in your house, and you've decided you want to be in a relationship with them, and so they come along, and they honk their horn, and you realize they're outside, and they're in their little car, and it's like a Mini Cooper, tiniest little car you've ever seen in your life. And you're like, oh my God, I totally want to go on the ride of their life and relationship. This is going to be awesome. And so you run joyfully, you know, and you have a little suitcase and put it in the back. And you go to climb in and you realize, oh my God, this car's too short to fit my legs. But you think, well, I'm going on the ride of their life, you know, and that's fine. I want to be in a relationship with them. So you cut off your legs and throw them out. And then you go to shut the door so you can go on the ride of their life in their little tiny car or their little tiny reality. And you realize, oh my God, my arms don't fit. And you're like, okay, well, so you cut this one off and you chew this one off and throw it out and close the door with your chin, and now you're ready to go on the ride of their life and their reality in their tiny little box called their reality in their little car going off down the road without your arms and without your legs. And we seem to think that's perfectly fine. What is that? Where do we get the idea that cutting off our arms and our legs in order to make a relationship, one, was valuable, or number two, would actually make the relationship better? What I've seen in relationships is when one partner is actually willing to change, and when one partner is actually willing to become more of them, whatever that is. And this is not buying a point of view or believing a point of view. It's like whatever's true for you. When one partner is willing to do that, there's two things that happen on the other side. There's the case where the other partner is absolutely thrilled, and they're like, oh my God, I've wanted things to change too, but I didn't know how to get there, and I didn't have the courage to change. And seeing you change is making me want to change. And it's amazing how cool this thing is that we can create together, and the relationship gets a lot better. Or on the other side, one partner really is angry and pissed off that the person is changing, and they show their resentment, they show their anger, and eventually either the person gets over caring about whether their partner cares or not, or the relationship breaks up. And I think we're afraid of losing this person that we have, afraid of losing all this stuff and where we're intertwined, rather than going, you know what, I'm going to have me and I'm going to be all of me, and it'll allow me to be here even more for you, and what would I like to choose right now? And what if you choosing to be more of you actually created the possibility for the greatness in relationship that hasn't yet been available? This is the thing I think that if we could get that would be so valuable. And like you said, I was the same way when I came to Access. I was like, yeah, I'd like to change money. I'd like to change my depression. I'd like to change my unhappiness. I'd like to change the fact that I feel like a pile of poo all the time. I'd like to change the fact that I don't like this. I don't like this. But my relationship, I'm like, why would I change that? I totally do relationship perfectly. I did relationship perfectly. It was awesome. I would cut off my arms and legs to be with somebody, and that from the outside world looked like the perfect relationship. And so what you want to realize also is so many of the relationships you see that seem like the perfect relationships are actually where one partner or both are cutting themselves off to appear to be perfect in public, or because that's the way they've learned to create a great relationship, and they're actually losing themselves and dying in the process. That's where you get these relationships where one person, you know, they look like they have this perfect relationship, and then all of a sudden one partner cheats on another and leaves and goes with somebody else. That's because they were cutting themselves off the entire time, but nobody noticed because they look so happy in public. Well, anybody can act happy in public. What do you know about you when you're in private and when you're alone?
Right. I'm also often shocked how many times, or I used to be, not anymore, I guess, when someone has this like relationship as their big issue, they can't find the love of their life, they can't find their soulmate, and you'll ask them in a class, so truth, do you actually want a relationship? And the answer is no. So can you talk a little bit about that for people who they're not necessarily interested, they're interested in maybe just some flings, like the other possibilities that this reality makes you so wrong if you don't want to do this long-term committed like relationship lifestyle?
Yeah. Basically, anything you do that does not uphold this reality and move it forward in the way that it has been in the past, you're made wrong for. And so many people, you're so correct. It's so funny how it's the person who's like, no, I must have a relationship. I want it more than anything else. If I had a relationship, I'd be happy. If I had a relationship, I'd be free. If I had a relationship, I would have everything. And then I go, do you really want a relationship? And they go, no! I'm like, cool, what would really make you happy? They're like, I have no clue. I said, okay, so try on some scenarios. Let's say one, you date maybe 2 or 3 people. And it's interesting how I'll try on different scenarios like that. Or I say, hey, what if you just get to be cool being alone for a while and find out what's really true for you for the next 6 months or a year? And they go, oh, that sounds awesome. I said, and you can date in the meantime. I said, but don't start a relationship until at least 6 months, maybe a year. And they go, oh, wow, I never even thought of that. I've been so busy looking for a relationship that I haven't even gotten clear on what's true for me because I felt like I couldn't have it until I had the relationship. I'm like, actually, it's the other way around. You can't actually have a great relationship until you're actually willing to be present with what's true for you, because then you can find it, you can actually create it. One of the interesting things in this whole area is, have you ever noticed how when you're looking for it, you never find it? When you stop looking for it, it shows up on your doorstep. It shows up on your back door. It drops out of the sky to find you when you're no longer looking for it. And part of what I'd like people to get is truly the way to have a truly great relationship, or the way to create one, is to have intimacy with you. Now, intimacy, I realize intimacy is different than what it is touted as in the world, because people think they're intimate when they have sex. No, that's just sex. That's copulation. That's putting your body parts together, okay? Intimacy is where there's actually a closeness with you. So the 5 elements of intimacy are honoring, trust, allowance, vulnerability, and gratitude. So what is honor? Honor means to treat with regard. Well, what is that? Well, it's when you actually have your awareness and have your caring for somebody and treat them in a caring way. You honor someone when you acknowledge what's true for them and are willing to choose according to that, as you choose according to what's true for you. So, like this 95-year-old lady, Mary, that was a friend of Gary Douglas, is the founder of Access. She had these really amazing and strange and bizarre points of view. She was 95 years old. She had been raised by her Victorian grandmother, and she had these amazing points of view about what honoring was, trust, etc. And so the thing about honor, she said, you know what, my Bill would honor me by putting gas in the car. He would honor me by letting me know what was up for him. I would honor him by making him dinner when he was home. I would honor him by when we would go out to his business luncheons and they didn't want to talk about all the metaphysical stuff. Bill would say to me, Mary, this is a business lunch. Please do not talk about all the metaphysical things you're interested in. These are business people. They don't want to hear it. And she would say, okay, honey. And she would put on her white gloves and wear her pillbox hat and drink martinis and talk about other things. Why? As an honoring of him. I know so many people that feel that if your partner asks that of you, they're being dishonoring of you. But it's actually not. It's actually an honoring. It's actually the willingness to honor your partner. But you have to honor you first, otherwise you feel like you're giving yourself away. So It's very important that you have these 5 elements of intimacy with you first. The next is trust. What is trust? Well, as it relates to another person, trust is that you can trust they will be exactly the same person tomorrow that they were today. In other words, some people go, oh, well, I trust that they love me so much that they will change. Look, guys, if you don't get anything else out of today's hangout, if you are not perfectly happy with the person that's in front of you exactly as they are and totally grateful for them and able to totally care for them and once again totally care for them exactly as they are, this is not a relationship that's actually workable unless you get over that point of view. Please get this. So many people out there are looking for a fixer-upper. Now, women tend to do this more than men. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because they can see the potential and they like to bring it out too, but not to the same degree. Women are more than willing to find a guy who, well, if I could just change the way he dressed, if I could just change the way he is in bed, if I could just change his breath, if I could just change the way he talked, if I could just change his hair, if I could just change the way he is in public, and you're like, what are you left with? You know what I mean? It's like, what is actually there that you want to work with? He's not a mold. He's not a lump of Play-Doh. Okay? So what you want to realize is if you don't buy fixer-upper houses, you probably don't want to get fixer-upper men or fixer-upper women. Truly, it's honoring of somebody, to be grateful for them exactly as they are, and not to require them to change to fit into something that you think they should fit into in order to make everything work for you. So the trust part comes in trusting they'll be exactly tomorrow who they were today. Now, the trust of yourself is realizing that you can actually trust you, that you actually know what is true for you, that you actually know what is valuable for you, and that you have the capacity to choose it and create it. Vulnerability is where you're there with no walls, no barriers. You are as the open wound. You're like, hi, here I am, warts and all. You know, like me, I got these, like funny stuff shooting up off the top of my head because my hair does that, right? Well, there you go. Here I am. Nice to be with you. Look funny on camera, and well, you know what? Who cares? That's vulnerability. It's like, hi, here I am. I'm not trying to prove I'm something else. I'm not trying to not be something else. I'm not judging me for who I am. I'm not judging me for who I'm not. Here I am. And a lot of us think that if we have that level of vulnerability with ourselves, that we're never going to change. No, actually, that's a place where you can change with a lot more ease. Actually, in that place, you can just ask and change something because you're not judging you into it or out of it. Vulnerability with another person is having no barriers up to them, no idea that they're wrong for any way that they're being, no need to try to make them become something else. You're vulnerable with them, meaning you're there with no barriers, and so are they, which allows allowance to actually be there. And allowance is where everything they choose and everything you choose is just an interesting point of view. The allowance part of this 5 elements is what eliminates the judgment from the spectrum. And what I've seen is judgment is one of the biggest killers, well, of every great relationship that there is. And the way it works is like this, people see each other, and for 10 seconds they see the being that is there, and it's friggin' phenomenal. It's amazing. You see this amazing being, and you're like, yes, I want to be with them. And then roughly 10 seconds later, you're thinking, oh no, they're so incredible. What are they going to judge about me? And you start cutting off the parts of you you'll think they'll judge, except that's not kind to you, and it's not kind to them. They saw the being that you were first. Please be that. Stop trying to cut off parts of you. And if you want to create a truly great relationship, every single day, you want to destroy and uncreate all of your judgments about what your relationship was yesterday, all your judgments of the other person, all of your judgments of you with regard to the other person. Or a real simple way to do it is everything my relationship was yesterday that has any fixed point of view to it at all, I destroy and uncreate it. Right? And bad, bottom, buck, all 9, first boys, mountains. And you'll be continuously in that state of the vulnerability and the allowance, because you won't have those walls of judgment. Because what happens for most people is they get together in those first 10 seconds, and then their judgments of themselves and each other push them further and further and further and further apart. Now, the meaning of relationship, if we look at relationship, and I know I haven't given the 5th element yet, which is gratitude.
Can you hear me?
I can. Am I cutting out?
Just a little bit. I think it's okay. But I wanted,
okay.
We have a couple of questions on the elements of intimacy, I think.
Yeah.
One of them is someone's been married for 40 years, and she wants to know, what do I ask to start getting my arms and legs for me again? And someone else is asking, how can you be vulnerable? And I really get that these elements of intimacy are, if you start getting them with you, then you'll start getting those arms and legs back. But you have to really start looking at, that honoring of you. What if you trusted you, what would you choose? And it's totally different. Those words, what you're talking about, like in this brief, bit that you're talking about it, I know you go into more of it in the book, but those words mean something so different than this reality tells you that they mean. Like trust in this reality is like, I trust that you're never going to hurt me or do bad things or be somewhat, like whatever that is. So these are different that you're talking about.
Yeah, very different. And
do you have any, questions that they can ask themselves to get clear on what it is for them?
Yeah, I think that's great. So basically, it's like this. Okay, are we doing okay sound-wise and all that? Are we good?
Sound-wise, your video is a little bit interesting, but we can hear you.
My video is interesting. Okay, I'm going to try this. See if that works any better. If not, let me know.
Okay.
I am playing with the settings in the Hangout, man. Watch out, everybody. I'm just saying. I don't know if that's my smartest choice, but here we go. So here's the thing, is the lady who said she's been married for 40 years, how do I start getting my arms and legs back? There's this is interesting. First thing is a real practical thing. That is, take at least a half an hour every single day to do something that's nurturing to you and nurturing to your body. My sister had been hearing me talk about this for years. You know, she'd been to Access classes and sort of liked it, and all. It was nice and everything, but it was something her brother did. So, of course, it couldn't be applied to her. I mean, hello, when your brother does it, And I had said this thing to take at least a half an hour for you every single day, do something that's nurturing for you. And after 2 years of hearing it, or a year and a half of hearing it, she finally did it. She sent me an email a couple weeks later, and she went, "Oh my God." She's like, "I have started doing this," and she's been married now for 10 years. She said, "I started doing this. I've only been doing it for 2 weeks, and I feel like for the first time I'm actually present in my life. I feel like for the first time I'm actually creating my life, and I am so grateful that I finally made this choice to do this." And I was like, "Wow, cool, awesome." And I said, "So what are you doing?" She said, "Well, I've got 4 kids. They get up kind of early." She's like, "I get up a half an hour early every single day. I go out in the backyard." Thank God for her, she lives in California. Like, I go out in the backyard with my laptop, and I watch your YouTube videos. And I was like, and of course, me as a brother, that makes me cry. It's like, that's so friggin' cool. How does it get any awesomer than that to be able to contribute to your sister that way? But she says, "I watch your YouTube videos, and it is changing my world. This is my half an hour for me, where there are no kids or no husband, and I'm being more of a contribution to my family and my husband than I've ever been able to be." And literally from that time forward, she has started creating her life. And she makes it a point that she does this every single day. So that's the first. Now, I would recommend this to everyone. Please take a half an hour for you. Do something nurturing to your body and being, half an hour a day. That's first. The second thing is, there's actually a process that you can do. Do it with yourself. But any of you that are in relationship, this can be so dynamic. And you're not doing it to find out what's wrong about the other person. You're doing it to undo your judgments of the other person. Okay? Because holding on to judgment kills you, and it kills your relationship, and it kills what's possible for them. So what you want to do is something called the judgment process. And the way it works is this. You say, okay, what is my judgment of this person? And you pock and pot it. And then you say, what is my judgment of me with regard to this person? And you pock and pot it. And then you say, what is my judgment of sex with this person? And you pock and pot it. And what is my judgment of me with regard to sex with this person? And you pock and pot it. And you keep going and going and going until there's nothing else left. And what you'll notice is you're able to actually be far more vulnerable with them, but also with you. You'll be able to, you'll have these 5 elements of intimacy: the honoring, trust, allowance, vulnerability, and gratitude. Of course, we haven't gotten to gratitude yet, but gratitude is basically, gratitude is something that is actually greater than love. And I know that's weird because a lot of you are so committed to the idea of love, and you're going to find your true love, and it's going to be lovely. And let's talk about love. Okay, well, let's do this while we talk about gratitude, okay? Because gratitude is actually, with gratitude, see, you can have gratitude for somebody no matter what they do. What happens with love is, as long as they're loving to us, as long as they do what we've decided is loving and judged as loving, we love them. But as soon as they go beyond that into things we don't like, we stop loving them, and then we go to hate. There's actually a program. It's called a love-hate program. Mm-hmm. And it's a place where a lot of people seem to function. And that's why when someone is murdered, the primary suspect from the start always is the spouse. That's where they start. They always question the spouse first. Why? Because the number of times that somebody that was married to somebody has so much hatred of them they could kill is off the charts. It's also why our divorce rate is so high all around the world, because there's this, you go into it getting this thing you think is love, but because it's based on a judgment, because it's based on this intensity, it eventually turns into hate as your judgments increase. So it's literally a program, and the difficulty with love is there's thousands of definitions for love. It's one of the most words that has one of the most definitions you can find. So when I say I love you, does it ever mean the exact same thing to you as it does to me? Well, probably not, because there's so many definitions of it. And so it's a sticking point. But if you can have gratitude for the person, that can always be there. And, you know, I was working with this guy who was telling me the story about a woman he went out with, and she was judging him and saying all kinds of mean things about him. And he's like, how can she do this? I love her. And how can I keep loving her? And what I said was, well, could you have gratitude for her? He went, oh my God, yeah, I could have gratitude for all the fun times we had. I could have gratitude for all the awareness I've gotten, all the great sex we had, all the time we spent together, all the fun we had. Wow. And I said, can you be grateful for what she's doing and saying now? And he went, wow, I can actually be grateful for what she's doing and what she's saying right now, because I'm getting more of me, and I'm getting to realize that it doesn't actually matter what anybody says about me to anybody or does. Wow. Wow, I've got this great gift from her. As soon as he had the gratitude, he stopped doing mean things to him.
It's like
So
the people that love you the most also tend to judge you the most. Like, it's okay because I love you, so let me tell you all the terrible things. But with gratitude, judgment can't really exist.
exactly.
Yeah.
And this is the gratitude. The reason I saved it for last is because it literally is this element that ties everything together, that makes everything else possible. So it really is this space where, because judgment and gratitude cannot coexist. If you have gratitude, judgment ceases. If you have gratitude, joy expands. If you have gratitude, possibilities expand. And if you have gratitude, your relationship expands. If you have judgment, joy goes away, possibilities go away, happiness goes away. Judgment is the biggest killer there is. If we want to truly create great relationships, what we've got to do is realize we've been handed a paradigm of judgment, basically right and wrong. And the difficulty is we inherently believe that our inherent points of view, the points of view we bought from our parents about right and wrong, are the same points of view that the other person has, but they're judgment systems. They're not the same. And so you have two people getting together, and one has this set of judgments, and one has this set of judgments, and they come together, and they think they're supposed to have the same set of judgments in order to create. And I'm like, wait a minute. What would be something that would actually work? Would actually be going beyond judgment as a source for the creation of relationship. So let me do this. So what have you made it so vital to? What have you made so vital about possessing judgment as the source for the creation of relationship? Actually, no. What have you made so vital about possessing judgment that keeps you creating relationships that will never work? Ow! Oh my Lord!
Ow.
Okay, and when I close my eyes like that, it's like there is so much energy on all of you around the world who have this going on. Everything that is times a gazillion. Will you just run it creative, please?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Okay, what have you made so vital about possessing judgment that keeps you creating relationships that will never work? Everything that is times a gazillion. Will you just run it creative, please?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond.
It's
I
so
love it when you come back on, Megan, when you're on my screen, because I see me and then I see you when you talk.
It's so funny because right before you ran that, people are asking a ton of questions about attracting a man or a woman or a relationship, and isn't attraction that like basically the judgment that is the most attractive piece?
Yep. It's where positive and negative come together in the most intense way possible. And you guys are talking about attracting it. Now, I can only assume that's something you've learned or been taught. What about creating it? What about creating that person to come into your life? What would you have to change to create that person coming into your life?
You did such a cool exercise in the Being You in Relationship class about walking people through that exercise of like getting the idea of the energy that you would like to create. Do you want to do that here or?
No, they need to buy the class online.
Cool.
Ha.
So
oh, just kidding. I'll probably do it.
But that's a lot of what the questions are. How do I create it? What questions can I ask to create a relationship? I haven't had one for 4 years. Can I continue dating while I figure out what I want for a relationship? How do I attract the relationship?
Please continue dating while you find out what you want, because one of the things about humanoids, and humanoids is all of you watching, unless you're sitting there in judgment with your arms like this going, this is stupid, well then you're probably not. But if you're not doing that, you know, if you're here for information, then, ooh, interesting that I just brought up the human and humanoid thing. Remind me about that in a minute. But basically, it's like this. For a humanoid, what you need to do, unfortunately, a lot of us, is you need to find out, you need to experience all kinds of things that you don't like so you can finally be willing to choose what you would like. So everything that doesn't like to go out and have the experiences that would show you what you do like and what you don't like, we destroy and create, please.
Yes.
Times a gazillion, right, wrong, about all nine, puck, puck. Once again, what have you made so vital about possessing judgment that keeps you creating relationships that will not work? Everything that is times a gazillion, we destroy and create, please.
And
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot and puck, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Yes.
it's still that looking for the right one, the right choice, rather than seeing that choice actually creates the awareness.
Yeah, and let me talk to you about something real quick here. A good friend of mine, our worldwide coordinator for Access, was hanging out with these guys that were judgmental assholes. Okay, and the weirdest thing is we tend to think these people are the winners of the world, and actually the way this particular piece of information came out was she was hanging out with this one guy, and he was just mean and judgmental. He judged her, he judged her body, he judged he had the perfect body, he judged that he was the most wonderful person in the world, and it was really unkind to her. And there was this really kind guy that was actually attracted to her, would have loved her, would have loved to have sex with her, and all this sort of stuff, but she couldn't even see him. So Gary was having a conversation with her and went, okay, so why is this person who would actually do a relationship with you and be great at it, why does this person have no value? And she went, well, this guy over here, the judgmental one, is a winner. And he went, really? What makes him a winner? She described all of his characteristics. You know, has this nice body. He's in judgment of everyone and everything. I was like, wow. We tend to think that the person with the most judgment is somehow a winner, and if we can get them, then we can become a winner too. Then we've won. I was like, okay. And then she talked about all the people that were the losers, who were the people that, you know, had basically nothing going on, etc., and she didn't want one of those. But all the people that would actually be kind to her, caring to her, nurturing to her, didn't have any judgment of her, would love to have sex with her and have no judgment, she decided they didn't count. So where have you placed people into the category of winner, loser, and no count that is destroying your capacity to find the person that would actually be great to be in relationship with or great to have sex with? Everything that is times a gazillion. Destroying creative, please.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pop, all nine, shorts, boys, and yes. And I gotta say, I'm gonna say this one more time. This, for me, is one of the most difficult subjects to talk about personally with people in a group setting like this with hundreds or thousands of people around, because most people just want what they want. They're like, show me how to get what I want. I decided I want this, and I should be able to have it. Guys, what if the reason you can't get what you want is, number one, maybe it doesn't exist, but maybe what has to change, maybe you make some demand in your world that you're actually going to be honoring of you and caring of you and kind to you now, and that if you would actually be that, would require somebody different to show up in your life. Maybe the person you think is the one that is the turn-on is actually the one that will twist your guts. Because one of the things that we found is, I say we because it's me and all kinds of access facilitators and Carrie, the founder, and one of the things we found is that, what is one of the things we found? Here, hold on, I just had a thought. I had a short attention span theater moment. I needed to do something here that might make my video better. Okay, cool, I'm back.
The sound is good, the video is kind of sketchy. So we apologize for that.
Yeah, I'm really sorry for the sketchy video. The fact that we can even do that is a miracle given the internet I had at the last place. I hate to say it, I'm in Australia, a very large country with some of the worst internet in the friggin' world. Okay, there I said it. Anyway, how does it get any better than that? Okay, so but one of the things that we found is that what happens is if you can go beyond the ideas of what you're supposed to have as a person, because what we do is there's this intensity that we seem to look for in creating sex and creating relationships, as though that is actually the intensity of living, but it's like a false intensity of living. It's actually not the intensity of living, it's the intensity of drama. It's actually an electrical vibration rather than an acoustical vibration. So what electrical vibration are you using to create the relationships you have been choosing instead of the acoustical possibilities for communion you could be choosing? Everything that is times a gazillion. We destroy the creative place.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, bottom, buck, online, towards boys and beyond. So what electrical vibration are you using to create the relationships you have been choosing instead of the acoustical possibilities of communion you could be choosing? Everything that is times a gazillion. We just run it creatively.
Yes. Not running
Right,
on.
wrong, good and bad, bottom, buck, online, towards boys and beyond. What was that?
I said it's not running on me at all.
No, exactly. I know you're getting happier over there. I like it. Okay, so let's talk about this also. So let's do this. So all the projections, expectations, separations, judgments, and rejections you have about relationship, about the person you're supposed to be in a relationship with, about the kind of relationship you're supposed to have or want to have, and it has to be that way or nothing will work. We just don't creatively.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, in this conversation with Gary, Simone realized, wow, I've made all the people that are actually just kind and caring and like me and like to do stuff with me, have sex with me, and everything else, I've made them not count. And there was this one guy named Brendan. They got together one night because Gary pot and pucked, so she could actually start perceiving the people that would be a contribution. And here's what you want to do. Everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive, the people that would actually be a contribution to you, we destroy and create this.
Yes.
Time to get again. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pot, shorts, boys and beyonds. This is exactly what Gary did with Simone. And she and Brendan got together like that night or the next night. They just happened to hit it off and really liked each other. They've been together for the last, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years. And they have one of the coolest relationships I've ever seen. It's like she cares for him, he cares for her. They have their ups and downs, but they weather the storm. Leave you hanging on your own. But sometimes in relationship, you have to be able to, do your own thing. So there you go. Yeah.
Oh, you left me.
I know you're like, you left me. You said you were going out for milk, and you never came back. Okay, so.
You.
So here's the thing. So Simone got together with Brendan. They truly have one of the most phenomenal relationships I've ever seen. It doesn't mean they don't have ups and downs, but they don't buy them as real. They may in the moment for a little while, but they pretty much are like, okay, honey, I'm going through stuff, and the other one goes, is there anything I can do to support you? And they do it from total caring and total kindness. I mean, it's really beautiful to see them together. And so but it's so different than what she thought she was looking for. Mm-hmm. It's so different than what all of her friends in school told her she should be looking for, from what her mother said she should be looking for. And that's the reason I want to bring this up, is because if you haven't been able to create the relationship that works for you, could be because what will actually work for you is something totally different than what you think will. So let's do what Megan was talking about. Do me a favor and close your eyes. Just feel your feet on the floor. More like that. Thank you. Feel your butt on the seat. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to get a sense of what it would be like to have someone in your life that truly cared for you, that truly had your back, that was truly grateful for you. Somebody that when you looked in their eyes, they were there with you. Somebody who just having their energy in your life feels like a contribution, feels like it creates more ease and more joy. Somebody who, when you are going through a tough time, gives you a shoulder to cry on. Somebody who you can tell, what seem like the deepest, darkest secrets or your most judgeable offenses, and they sit and they listen. And they have no judgment, and they have no point of view, and they have total caring for you. Somebody that's willing to wrap you in their arms and let you know it's going to be okay. Somebody that allows you to wrap them in their arms, and you can let them know it's going to be okay. In other words, they gift and they receive. Now, get the energy of all of these things and just put it out in front of you. And now notice if you have that energy, it's sort of like if you have that energy, their body type isn't as important as you may have thought it was. Their age isn't necessarily as important as you thought it was. It's like their largeness or smallness or any of those things, body-wise, are kind of like, as long as I have all these other things, just it opens the possibilities for you to receive it, because it doesn't always show up with the exact perfect body you think it should have. And now, what would it be like if you had wonderful sex? Now realize every one of us has a different sexual reality. Some people like sex a lot and all the time in all kinds of different ways. Some people like very little sex, or they like sex just a certain amount of time in a certain way. Whatever your sexual reality is right now, what if you could be with somebody who honored that, who was grateful for that, and where it worked for them too, where you didn't have to try to prove you were something you were not, whether it's highly sexual or not highly sexual. What if you could connect with them on that level in exactly the way you and your body would like to be connected with? And what if there were no wrongness in your point of view and your sexual reality now? And what if you were not...
Come back on. A few of you were asking, he was running what was called the judgment process, and you were asking for clarification on what that was. So I'll go ahead and give that to you when we're waiting for him. So there's 4 questions that you can run with anyone, and it's, what are your judgments of blank? What are your judgments of you in regards to blank, or the name? And what are your judgments of sex with blank? And what are your judgments of you in regards to sex with blank? So the blank is where you put the name, and you can run that with pretty much anyone that you're in relationship with, that you've ever done relationship with, parents, friends, siblings, and it's really dynamic in bringing up pretty much any kind of judgment that you have from this or any other lifetime, and then you pock and pot it all, which allows for more space to get created.
So what if you didn't... Okay, so close your eyes, get back that wonderful space with that wonderful person. Darn it. Okay, maybe it's more than one wonderful people. Okay, so what if you didn't have to do the relationship? What if you were actually in it not to try to undo some wrongness of you? What if you weren't looking for somebody who judged you appropriately or judged you for being inappropriate? What if you didn't have to create the relationship to make you less, to make you small, or to get you to go into judgment of you, or to bring you out of judgment of you? What if you created it for a nurturing, caring, kind contribution to you and your life and your living and your body? Just get that energy. And imagine it's like having a best friend combined with the sweetness of an animal that you may know, and the caring and the non-judgment of a child. And pull energy into that from all over the world. More. Okay, now let little trickles go out to everyone and everything who's going to help make it a reality for you that you don't even know yet. Everything that doesn't allow it to show up with total ease, and all of your projections, expectations, separations, judgments, rejections, and conclusions about what that is, and what that isn't, and who it is, and who it isn't, we just try to create it, please. Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, pod, pod, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And the thing is, the person that you think or have decided is the one to be in relationship with, you know, if you're not in a relationship, may not be the person. If it's not working and it's not ease, then it's probably time to head in some other direction. So everything you've decided about doing relationship exactly the way you are and exactly the way you have to, we just run and grade it, please. Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, pod, pod, shorts, boys, and beyond. Now, I want to do something real quick for the people who are in a relationship or who have sort of a tumultuous relationship with someone. And the thing is, relationship has so many aspects to it, and you know, we're sort of covering the idea of quote-unquote intimate relationships. You know, the boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend, 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 boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, that kind of thing. But you know, there's so many aspects to it. I just want to acknowledge that there are many, many, many aspects. But in the time that we have, this is probably the the meat that most people are looking for, the subject they want to address. But so let's do this. If you're in a relationship or have a tumultuous moment with someone, here's what you want to ask yourself. How many lifetimes have we been together? How many lifetimes have I killed them? How many lifetimes have they killed me? And whose turn is it to kill the other one in this lifetime? My turn to kill them, or their turn to kill me? And everything that is times a gazillion, we just run and create it, please.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Now, if you go through and do this with the people that are closest to you, you'll be amazed at what it'll shift and change. A number of times I've worked with someone on their relationship, and in this relationship class I just did, the
3.5-day event that's starting on the 2nd in Mooloolaba. He's also going to be in the U.S. in Florida May 16th through the 16th, 17th, 18th. And it's 3.5 days. Everyone's invited. There's no prerequisites. And all of these areas that we've been exploring over the series, we are going to dive into each one of those pretty in depth and go beyond all of it as well. So you're invited. We'd love to have you there. You can be online if you can't travel. The Florida one is actually going to be translated into Spanish simultaneously. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go to beingyouclass.com, and both of those classes are listed there on the homepage.
Okay. So the thing about it is there's a totally different space in which you can create a truly successful relationship, like a truly great one. And it involves having these elements of intimacy with you, but nowhere in there do you see, oh, I'm doing it so I can feel better about myself. I'm doing it so I can bring somebody into my life so I can make myself feel less. I'm doing it to perpetuate abuse on myself. Those are not things that will actually create a great relationship. So what you want to realize is with doing this thing of how many times have I killed them, how many times have they killed me, what it does is it actually changes the place where you're committed from some of the lifetime to have this intense interaction where they're getting you back for something or you're getting them back for something. And it works really well in relationships that you're in. There's all kinds of other tools that we have available, but it's this thing where, so let me give you another process, which is what energy, space, and
No. We're really sorry, guys. This is actually really funny that it's the second time we've tried to do this one and we can't because of the internet. So that process, if he doesn't get back on, we will send it to you in the email. And we'll try and send you a few of these, like the judgment process, some of the things that you may not have heard very well. We'll type it out for you and send it in the email. Can't tell if he's back or not.
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can.
Can you hear?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Wow. Talk about amazing. Okay, sorry guys, I truly apologize. What energy, space, and consciousness can I be? To perceive, know, be, and receive what I truly desire as a relationship and a communion for me. Everything that doesn't allow it, times a gazillion. We just run and create it, please.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So once again, what energy, space, and consciousness can you be? To perceive, know, be, and receive what you truly desire and can create as relationship and communion for you. Everything that doesn't allow it, times a gazillion, we just run and create it, please.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So the thing is, you can truly create anything you desire as a relationship. There are people out there that will play the other side of that. The difficulty is when we're looking for something that's not really going to work for us, number one, but also when we believe that one person has to fulfill everything for us. There's no one person in the world that can fulfill everything for us. So everything you've done to decide that you need to have one person fulfill everything for you, and that's the only way it's going to work. We destroying creatively.
Yes.
Times a gazillion, right? Wrong, about all nine, pod, pod, shorts, boys, man. So everything you've done to what?
Did you want to talk about humanoid human here?
Oh yeah, yeah. Basically, one of the weird things that we found is there appear to be two different types of people on the planet: humans and humanoids. The humans are the ones that are always in judgment of everyone else. They know they're right. They know you're wrong. And they're the ones who have not believed in global warming until the last few weeks. Okay? Um, they're never looking for anything different, and they just want to get theirs before anybody else gets theirs. And they basically function from, no, there are no other possibilities. Why do you keep doing that shit you do? And then there are humanoids. Humanoids are the seekers of the world. Humanoids are the people that are always looking for something different. Humanoids tend to be in judgment of themselves while thinking they're judgmental. And the thing is, if you've ever had the thought that you're judgmental, that alone is proof that you're not. Because people who truly are judgmental never think, oh my God, I'm so judgmental. They just know they're right. So as a humanoid, you've been in judgment of you your whole life, been wanting different possibilities, wondering why you don't fit in this reality, and most of the time you've been looking to create a relationship with somebody who will anchor you enough into this reality so you can feel like you belong here. Well, guess what? If you do it to try to find somebody who has the right judgments of you, so you'll find somebody who's judgmental enough to fit that bill, rather than actually choosing somebody who is going to be a seeker like you, somebody who desires something different, somebody who's willing to let you do whatever you want whenever you want to do it, and you're willing to let them do whatever they want when they want to do it, somebody who contributes to you making money and you contribute to them making money, and someone where the sex is great. I mean, basically, if you want to, so everything you've done to try to create relationship with the unkind, mean, judgmental people of the world, as though that was your service to the world, or as though that's what you deserved, or as though those are the only people who would love you, and as though judgment is love, we destroy and create a place.
Yes.
Times a gazillion, right? Wrong, about all nine, pod, pod, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So everything you've done to buy the lie that you need that you have to have that, and that you have to perpetrate that on yourself, rather than having somebody that's fun to be around where you just run creative place.
Yes.
Times a gazillion, right? Wrong, about all nine, pod, pod, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So if you get that you're a humanoid and you're one of these seekers and somebody who's looking for something different, that's the kind of person who is going to be a lot more fun for you to be around. Here's the thing, guys. Look at it. If you're not having more fun being with someone, maybe there's some other choice you could make, either changing the aspects of that relationship, changing what you're doing to limit you in the relationship, or changing the relationship. Because it should actually be about the contribution, the joy, the fun, and the possibilities. So a real quick thing on the idea of relationship is, a really great relationship is you have great sex, whatever that is for you. If you let them do whatever they want whenever they want to do it, and they let you do whatever you want whenever you want to do it, and you both contribute to each other having more money or making more money. That right there, I know it's not the romantic love notion that most people are trying to say is what you need, but I don't see it working very well. I see gratitude, honoring, trust, allowance, vulnerability, kindness, caring for the person. I see that working really dynamically, and that allows you to have all of you. With most of what is created as relationship on this planet, you have to cut parts of you off in order to create it, and I would like to see you not have to do that. So, a couple real practical things that you can do. You can do the thing of getting all of those aspects that I talked about and any more that you want, and put that energy in front of you, and pull energy into it from all over the universe until your heart opens up, and then let little trickles go out to everyone and everything is going to help make it a reality for you that you don't even know yet. That's first. And then the second thing you want to do is you want to get real clear. What is it you would like the person you'd like to be in a relationship with to have? Write down a list that is as long as you can make it about everything you'd like them to have, every characteristic, every quirk, everything you can think of, even the things you think you're not supposed to ask for. I'd like this, get as specific as you want. And then what you want to do is you want to go down that list and go, which of these are truly vital to me? Because a lot of times we try to make something vital that isn't. In other words, we go, oh, I want them to look this way. I want them to have this color eyes. I want their body parts to look like this or whatever. And when you start to look at it, you get 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 clear for you on what's actually true for you, and go down the list and go, okay, which of these are actually vital? And be willing to play with this list for the next few weeks. And just go, which of these are actually vital to me, and circle those. And then have that as your awareness of what's truly vital to you and ask for that. Now, the other thing you want to do at the same time is write the list of everything you don't desire them to have, everything you want to make sure is not there. Because if you write just the first list of everything you desire, you will create it, but they will also have everything that's on the second list too. So what you want to do is you want to write the first list, and then write the second list of everything you desire them not to have, ways you don't want them to be, and circle which parts of those are vital. Now, your list could be 100, 200 things. Each of those could be a couple hundred things. And you might boil it down to, I don't know, 5 or 10 that are vital. What it'll do is it'll give you instant clarity on what it is you truly desire, and realize that most of what you desire is probably not what you thought you desired. Probably not at all. Remember, it always looks different than the way you think it's going to. And the other thing you want to do is you want to go, what creation am I using to invoke and perpetrate the biomimetic mimicry of my mother's and father's pathways, pains, and realities of relationship and sex am I choosing? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So what creation are you using to invoke and perpetrate the biomimetic mimicry of your mother's and father's pathways, pains, and realities of relationship and sex are you choosing? Everything that is times a gazillion, we destroy and creatively. Yeah. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, one more time. What creation are you using to invoke and perpetrate the biomimetic mimicry of your mother's and father's pathways, pains, and realities of relationship and sex are you choosing? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Real quick, biomimetic mimicry is where when you're learning or when you don't understand something, or when something's just around you so much it starts to feel like part of your reality, what you're actually doing is mimicking it. Because you didn't understand how your parents got into the relationship they did. You didn't understand why they did what they did and how they did what they did when you were a little kid. You were like, what's going on here? And so you literally biomimically mimic it. Use your biology, your physiology, and your psychology to mimic their points of view, and you literally mimic all of their energetic structures and their pathways and their patterns and walk around as though they're now yours. And this is part of the reason why you keep trying to create relationships that don't work, because you're trying to create your mother. Sorry, guys, man. Oh, I cannot tell you how frustrating this is. So I will be pot and pocking myself. As you try to create, the reason they don't work is because you're trying to create from your mother's idea of relationship and everything that worked and everything that didn't, or your father's idea of relationship and everything that worked and everything that didn't. And unfortunately, they're not you. Part of what this will do, and I would put that on a loop and run it and run it and run it like Forrest friggin' Gump, because part of what it will do is actually start to give you the awareness of what's true for you. Once you know what's true for you in this area, you can finally create it. The last thing I want to address really quick, really quick before I go bye-bye again, is that there are a lot of you that truly don't desire relationship. And I'm sorry to get to the end of the thing before I talk about this, but there are a lot of you that don't really want to be in a relationship. A lot of you want to have different people to date, different people to have sex with. You know what? That's okay. It's okay to have your reality. And if you look around, there are a lot of people who are going toward that end of the spectrum nowadays, much more so than ever before. Maybe they're just being more vocal about it. But I think what's happening is people are recognizing that the traditional paradigms of relationship, sex, marriage, and family don't work as they were promised to. So people are looking for something different. So realize, especially you humanoid women, you need between 3 and 5 men to keep you happy. And realize this, even if you choose to be monogamous and have sex with one, you still need to have outside influences, friends, people that will still contribute to you energetically. All of us do. So do the humanoid men. So everything you've done to buy the lie that you need to get everything from one person, rather than recognizing that, number one, it's not possible, and number two, it'll make your relationship greater if you allow contribution from other people. Will you destroy and create it, please? Times a godzillion, right? Wrong, good, bad, all nine, pot, puck, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So, what's that?
That's a huge one. It's so different for you to think that, well, number one, it's terrible to put everything on one person, but then to actually get that, oh, if I have like 15 guys, you don't have to be having sex with all of them, but you get different elements of what you'd actually like in a relationship from them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I asked you to write down all of those elements of what you'd like in relationship, because what you'll realize is, wow, I can get this from this person. Oh, I can get this, and this from this person. And then I get this and this from this person. And you'll really start to get a much clearer picture of what's valuable to you. What we've done for most of us is we've gone out there into the wide world of relationship, blind, with our hands tied behind our back and a thing over our eyes going, okay, I'm going to create something wonderful. I know I can do it. You know, it's like, no, you need to start getting some clarity in this area. So that's why I'd like you to write those things down. And also realize, once again, it's vital, actually, to get input from other sources other than the person that you've decided is your significant other. And realize that the way people prove they love each other here is by who they're willing to cut out of their life in order to make the relationship happen. It's not a kindness. It creates intimacy, supposedly, with that person, but it takes you out of intimacy with you, and it takes you out of communion, which is your connection with everyone and everything else. If you're truly going to create a great relationship, you're going to need to also be able to receive from all kinds of other sources, all kinds of other places and spaces that have the possibility for gifting to you, because the entire universe will gift to you. Please don't put it on this one person.
Yeah.
Whew. Anything else you want to say before I disappear again?
There's a lot of gratitude. Someone said, what you're saying speaks loud and clear. I now have another perspective. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, this isn't something that anybody else is really willing to talk about it like this. So thank you for doing it and being the one that's bursting some fantasies.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you, I do it from the place of not, hey, you need to do this and my way is right. I've just seen so many people who are these wonderful and amazing people who feel this gap in their lives because they're being abused in their relationship, or they made themselves so small in their relationship, or they feel like they can't be as great as they are because they don't have a relationship. And it's just such an unkindness that we perpetrate on ourselves. It's time to actually have the kindness of us being able to get clear about what's true for us, even if it's different than the norm, and also be able to create relationships that are different than the norm, because the normal relationship has a 55% divorce rate. We don't want the norm, guys. Let's be willing to create something different, even if the people that are stuck in needing the norm are judging you for it. You know what? Let them have their judgments. You don't have to try to talk them out of it. Realize they are stuck in a different reality, and it's not one you want to be in anymore, and it's okay. So everything you've done to judge you because they judge you, or judge you because your mom says, when am I going to get grandkids? And you think, oh, you're doing something bad to your mom before she dies. No, that's her world. Everything that is times a gazillion, we destroy and create a place.
Yeah.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, first boys and nuts. I know none of you have had that perpetrated on you as you go out just enjoying your lives and enjoying the world. My mom used to say this to me every time I'd be on the phone with her. She would end the phone call with, when are you going to give me a grandchild? When are you going to get a serious girlfriend? When are you going to? And finally one day I said, Mom, I love you. I will always love you. But if we have this conversation again, we don't ever need to talk again. Because I don't need your judgment about my choices in life. I am going out and I am changing the world, and that is lighting me up.
Well, I guess unless he comes back in like a second, we'll go ahead and end it there. I really would like to thank everyone for joining. If you have questions, if you're not getting our emails and you've signed up and you're not sure what's going on, you can email me at Megan, M-E-G-A-N, at accessconsciousness.com, or Lauren at accessconsciousness.com, and we will get you taken care of. If you'd like to invite your friends to this series, they can still watch the replay. You can go to beingyouclass.com /hangouts. And yeah, what else is possible in this area? Read the chapter again. There's also, get the book. There's a whole other chapter afterward about sex and lots of other wonderful things. So get the book if you don't have it, and we look forward to seeing you next time for Are You Willing to Be a Leader on May 15th. And until then, what else is possible? Thank you. Bye-bye.